Speaking of wide awake, one thing that has really happened this year is I think it's awoken a lot of people's eyes to how much they seem to hate the Chiefs. Not that they didn't before, but it's cranked up to another level, which had us wondering which dynasty was worse, which one is more insufferable, the New England Patriots dynasty of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, or the Kansas City dynasty of Travis, Andy, Patrick, and ketchup on steak. So what we're gonna do, we got a 5-point rubric on here. We're gonna grade each one to the point where we will have a determining factor at the end of it. We're gonna grade it on the players, the coaches, the fans, the cities, and miscellaneous. This includes everything that's not in those categories. Basically, it goes into it. We're gonna start first and foremost with the players. Which team has more insufferable group of players? Which ones that they're the ones that rub you the wrong way and you just kind of get tired of them? Kelcey, I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one. Which one? Who takes the cake in the category for players?
The Patriots. 100% will always be the Patriots. Tom Brady. Period, point blank, end of story. Tom Brady is the reason I cannot stand the Patriots. I like Patrick. I like Travis. I like Chris Jones. I like a lot of the players on the Chiefs. I don't like Creed Humphrey, but that's not because he's not a good lineman. That is just because he is just not somebody I like. I don't like the way he plays the game. I do think he embellishes a little too much for a center. Center's supposed to be a badass, and he's not that. And that's where I have a problem with him. But on the flip side, like he's probably my most hated Chief, not named a kicker. But on the flip side, for New England, I could probably rattle off 10 guys that played for them, Teddy Bruschi being one of them, that I just didn't like them. Rodney Harrison, another one. Deion Branch didn't really mind one way or the other. Their best redeeming player was Gronk or Chad Ochocinco, because he was known at the time, or Randy Moss. Loved those guys. But there's a lot of other guys I just cannot stand. So for me, New England has the worst players.
A very fair point that you make there. And they also have a lot more players due to that was 20 years. So there is a lot to choose from there. And the way Bill would cycle a lot of them in and out, there's a lot more to go through there. Where Kansas City, we're on year 7, we could say, of this dynasty. Really 5, but we'll give them 7.
That started with Alex Smith, by the way. I don't stand by that. I don't care anymore.
Well, if we're going to include that one, then yes, it goes a little bit farther back too. I guess I was just going since the first Super Bowl, but yeah, all right. If we include Alex Smith,
I'm basically going since Patty got drafted, so that's about almost 8 years now, 9 years.
I would say Kansas City has a little bit worse because I will not stand for the ketchup on steak. I will die on this hill. That is unacceptable. That is a sin. That alone ends the conversation. I like Chris Jones when he's not running a 40-yard dash. The problem is that unfortunately overtakes everything else. So that is locked in stone. Travis is great, but at the same time, you mentioned Creed Humphrey with the embellishing. Travis does a lot of the same. He will stick his chest out and bump the helmet, but the flag will go the opposite way. We love Travis Kelce here, but at the same time, we're comparing him to Gronk, who is just a drunk frappero who literally coined the term, I escorted him out of the club while beating the you-know-what out of the Colts. So I can't hate on him for that because that's hilarious. I love Isaiah Pacheco. Kareem Hunt, I get a kick out of him sometimes, but I could do without. They're kind of very even, honestly. The reason I'm going to go with Kansas City on this one is simply because it's a shorter time frame. So a lot of those players are the same, where New England has had so many to cycle through. There's a lot more opportunities to get those players that you just can't stand at the same point. I think it's really close. Give me 3 years. If we revisit this, it might change. But the deciding factor is literally going to be the ketchup on steak. I cannot allow that. So out of the gate, the ketchup on steak is the deciding factor here for me.
That's fair. I honestly, I'm not thinking off the field with these guys. I hated Tom Brady, period, as a player. Maybe I just hate greatness as a player. I don't know, because I feel the same about Kobe. I just hated them as well. I respect them, respect the hell out of them, but I just don't like them as players.
I love them a lot more in hindsight than current sight. That's for
yeah,
sure. So
yeah. I like
a whole lot.
Exactly. I respect it. I respect the game. I'm not going to say I liked him as a player though. So yeah, whereas for Kansas City, like I like Patty's abilities. I like Travis Kelce. I like his attitude. I wish he would get a few more taunting calls on him, but you know what? That's not his fault that he's not getting called for taunting. He's also a blocking tight end, so he's literally like the dream. I say blocking. He blocks occasionally as a tight end, which is the dream for every offensive lineman, to be able to play tight end and only block occasionally. So a little bit of jealousy there. Same thing for Gronk. But yeah, I don't hate the idea that you hate Kansas City more than New England, but yeah, for me, Tom Brady just seals it for me.
Even though he hasn't been nearly as bad on Kansas City, TikTok boy is still on there too with Juju Smith-Schuster, so it still counts in that algorithm. Like it's, you know what, it still counts even if it hasn't been as frequent. It's still there. It's not gone.
You know what though? He is the least problematic TikToker that related to Kansas City Chiefs, and the other one is thankfully not on the team, so we don't have to worry about that. And then the other one is a wag of a player, and we
Yeah, we
don't
weren't
want
getting
them.
that. Yeah, we got more to get into that. He's not the most problematic Steelers receiver of all time, that's for sure. But now we're going to go into part number 2 of the rubric. We are going to the coaches now, and I'm going to keep mine short and sweet. This is New England at 10,000%. How does one not love Big Red Andy Reid? And Steve Spagnuolo as a defensive coordinator is absolutely awesome. He was, yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. Big Red versus Bill Belichick. Answer's pretty quick and simple. One guy talks in, we're on to Cincinnati. The other guy makes jokes about it's gut wrenching, and I got a whole lot of gut. His quote, not mine. So give me Bill Belichick is the more the New England takes the cake with coaches here. And but by the way, for those just tuning in, getting the nod means you are worse. So that means we love Andy Reid by saying the nod goes to New England. Just because I know the scoring seems a little backwards. It's like golf. The lower score, the better.
Yeah. This is we're ranking the worst. We're not ranking the best. I am just going to keep it short as well. I love Andy Reid. I have always liked Andy Reid. Even when he was with Philly, I liked Andy Reid. I thought he was a fantastic offensive play caller. I thought he was a fantastic mind, and he's finally showing that off with all the weapons he has. So, yeah, I hate Bill Belichick though. He's you've heard me call him all sorts of negative things. The Dark Sith Lord. He is the Darth Plagueis the Wise, if you will. You take your pick on which one. That's probably not Plagueis, but you get my point. Yeah, insert random Sith here. Bill Belichick still shadows them. So yeah, Bill Belichick is the worst of the worst.
Absolutely. Next, we're going to move on to the fans, and this one's a lot closer than it used to be. That is for sure. It has definitely increased in recent memory, but I'm still sticking with Old Reliable because Boston gonna Boston. They got a reputation for a reason. So we're going to say, as a whole, the Patriots fans still got the nod, but I think Kansas City has closed the gap a lot more in recent years than they should have, considering the head start that New England did have. It's still comfortably New England right now, but that gap is closed entirely too quick when you factor in the bandwagon that hopped on.
Yeah. I would love to go with New England and just continue my streak of going New England here. I can't. I have to say Kansas City on this one because I cannot stand Kansas City fans. They are so obnoxious. And it's like, I get it. You're good. But San Francisco Giants fans weren't this bad when they won 3 titles in 5 years. And here you are as the Kansas City Chiefs, a flyover state, by the way. Most people don't even know which state you're in. And you're going to talk it up like you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And by the way, you're not. The Wonder Factory is not even in Kansas City. So yeah, no. And your barbecue, not the best barbecue in the nation. Stop it.
Okay, those might be the fighting words. Everything else we were good with, but now we're getting canceled.
I like the Lights District. That's cool. Fun to watch sports there. I will not. And no. So Kansas City is the worst of the fans between those two, and it's really the recency bias of it. Just because I've been to Kansas City in the last year, and I cannot stand all the Chiefs fans that are obnoxious. I didn't even wear Cowboys gear, and I still got hated on.
You know, that's fair. And you know what? That actually leads us into our next category, and that is the city. So, Kelcey, is Kansas City taking the city too, or does Boston take the city?
No, Boston's always the worst city. Like, it's historic. It's cool. Boston will forever be the worst city, though. The only thing worse than that is New York and Los Angeles. So.
I'm going to say Kansas City for one word and actually 2 words. Cold tornadoes. They get both of them. At least in Boston, you're just freezing. In Kansas City, you got to worry about tornadoes. You got to worry about potential flooding, especially in that Midwest during those seasons when the rain spikes. We saw that in Iowa, Nebraska, etc. Tornadoes, you're right there. Freezing cold. We saw that last year in the game against Miami. So I'm taking Kansas City for no other reason than that weather could get absolutely atrocious. And on top of that, too, you're not even in one state, so you don't even get to for only claiming half of it. There's a lot of tomfoolery here, so that's gonna split mine now 2-2. I'm gonna say the city goes to Kansas City, so that's 2-2, and you got Boston 3-1. Does Boston go 4-1, or do you give Kansas City a chance to close it at 3-2 with Miscellaneous? Then this could be literally anything.
No, so I'm actually going with owners as my miscellaneous decision maker. Yeah. So with that said, Robert Kraft is the worst of those 2 owners. The Hunt family, love them, respect them. They have a trophy named after them. Robert Kraft has a documentary named after him, and it's not named for Kraft, but it is. Yeah. So with that said, I'm going to go with the Hunt family here as my decision maker as the better of the 2. So that means I'm picking Kraft as the worst, which means New England 4-1. for me.
All right. So we definitely have a strong inkling towards the Northeast on that one. This one's really close. If we did just owners, you hit the nail on the head. But since I named it miscellaneous, it kind of goes into just about anything. So this is where ours will differ a little bit. You mentioned a certain TikToker on the sideline as well recently. I think that plays a part into this factor that can't be just let go. There's a lot that comes into it. What I almost hate more than the Chiefs bandwagon, the miscellaneous fans that have come on for different reasons, are those that hate on those for that exact reason. Because I have to hear about that too. Like the people who like it's bad enough that they have their hardcore their bandwagon fan base that comes with natural sports, etc. Then you tag on the Taylor Swift fans. That's fine. It's the people who hate on both of those relentlessly on top of it that makes it even worse. So you got like 7 different layers going on here. The haters of the haters of the haters. Somehow they have managed to stockpile haters like Thanos and Infinity Stones. And it's almost impressive, but it's to the point of exhausting. So as much as you are spot on about the owners, and that makes this closer than I initially planned, I'm still giving the nod to Kansas City in miscellaneous. So right now, I think Kansas City takes it 3-2 in my book. It's a lot closer than that, though. And you know what? I might change my mind in a week or a month or a year, just like we might end up flip-flopping depending on how this goes, because we're comparing 20 years to 7 at the same time. So there's a little bit of room for wiggle room. Maybe in a couple of months or a couple of years when we do this, you might have 4-1 Kansas City, and I might have 3-2 New England. Definitely a lot of wiggle room. But